Puna Geothermal Venture is gearing up to drill a new production well, possibly around the clock, 24 hours a day, even though the county passed a law a few years ago banning geothermal drilling at night. Now, community members are trying to stop the company any way they can.
So we built our dream house here. It's effectively 3 stories. At the very top is our bedroom loft.
Steve Daly has called this forested lot on Hinalo Street in Lani Puna Gardens his home for years.
We call it a reinvention retreat, that we invite people to come and we promote the pristine, wonderful, jungle and quiet. And unfortunately, we back right up here to an industrial complex. They are our neighbors.
Those neighbors are Puna Geothermal Venture, a power producer with the capacity to feed up to 38 megawatts of geothermal energy to the Big Island's electric grid. PGV uses the sustainable resource found just beneath the surface on this geologically active land, right in Steve Daly's backyard. Daly is one of many living nearby with a list of complaints about the operation.
In the evening, it's lit up like it's daylight. It's routine. 10 out of every 12 days we hear a dull hum, a din, if you will. The wind's blowing the right way. It sounds, not unlike an airplane sort of a sound that's quite intrusive. The occasional wafts of smell, rotten egg smells, chemical smells of different kinds. And so it's disturbing, it's intrusive, and it's generally uncomfortable. So that's what we have here, is a bad neighbor.
PGV began commercial operation in 1993 and is the only geothermal power producer in the state of Hawaii. In 2004, the facility was acquired by Ormat Technologies, Inc., a global geothermal company based in Israel. Ormat also has geothermal facilities on the U.S. mainland, in California and Nevada. Ormat says PGV is environmentally friendly, producing power that is clean, reliable, and renewable. In order to tap into the geothermal resource, the plant must drill production wells. Residents say it is the drilling process that is the most disruptive.
But particularly concerning is the noise that's made during drilling. Day or night, it doesn't matter. It's terribly, we feel it, we hear it, it's distracting, hard to be on the telephone, impossible to sleep. When the drilling was going on last time, we could literally feel the ground shaking, constant pounding, rhythmic, metal on metal, very loud sounds, occasional peaks of that sound would be particularly disruptive. A level of noise that you literally couldn't get used to. In other words, it didn't blend into the background at all.
The last time Puna Geothermal Venture drilled a well was in 2012, the KS-15 well. The noise associated with the activity generated so many complaints, the Hawaii County Council took action. The council chair at the time, Dominic Yagong, proposed a ban on drilling during the evening hours.
It is totally unacceptable to say that it's okay for it to happen at 2 o'clock in the morning, or 4 o'clock in the morning, or 5 o'clock in the morning. When you're talking about a residential area, although zone agriculture, where you have families that work and children that needs to go to school, it's just not acceptable.
The Puna community testified in force.
And when it first started drilling, my wife and I were scared quite a bit. We were shaking in bed. The sound is one thing, the vibration, the 24/7 vibration, particularly at night when all the background sounds and noises are cut back. It's a scary feeling, it's an unpleasant feeling.
When the drilling is going on 24/7, it is impossible for nearby residents to eat, relax, sleep, and go on with their lives.
When you don't sleep properly, a lot of diseases which are subclinical become clinical.
Yeah, drilling's dangerous. It affects the community. It's I said it before to you, how would you like this 2,000 feet from your home?
My wife and I spent everything we had to move here to the peace and quiet of this land to open a bed and breakfast. I'm deathly scared of this crap expanding close to where it would affect us. We got a bed and breakfast. We cater to people who want peace and quiet. If this noise and pollution goes on, there goes our business. There goes the value of our land, which we're still trying to buy. The value goes down, we're not going to qualify for the loan. We're out on our ears. We're out of $250,000.
So noise abatement or all the rest of it like that is fine and dandy. The most appropriate thing to do is to fold up that whole situation right down there and cover it up and get it out of there.
Former plant manager Mike Keeney stated the nonstop drilling is done for safety reasons.
It is serious, and it would pose as a potential to increase something that happened in 1991 with KS8. And for that main reason, we oppose this bill.
Then maybe it's too dangerous for PGV to be drilling at any time with neighbors within a mile of the rig.
Geothermal energy production is regulated by the State Department of Land and Natural Resources as well as the State Department of Health, but the county does have a say. There was a lot of discussion at the time over whether Yagong's Bill 292 would affect future drilling at PGV.
But if the county council sets a rule now, it means for any future drilling.
This bill is from the date of approval forward. I want everyone in the public to understand it. And it will not adversely affect any validly held permit.
The permit that you received was to be able to drill, and you did drill, and now that you have concluded that, does that mean that GRP 2 permit is now POW? So if you want to drill again, you'd have to come in for GRP 3? Yes?
GRP 2 allows us to go to 60 megawatts. Okay. We do not need any additional permits.
Okay.
There's other permits to request to drill additional.
Okay. And I think that's a clarification that we wanted to provide, and that is that the GRP2 is a current contract which allows PVG to go up to 60 megawatts. So obviously we cannot retro if we do pass Bill 292. So that would allow you to continue to if you do end up going up to 60 megawatts. So, but the clear question I want to ask is, do you have, if you were to drill 3 weeks from now, would you have to go back to the commission or for the DOH and receive another permit to drill 3 weeks from now? Or does your current contract allow you to drill 3 weeks from now?
We would need to get additional permits from Department of Health, Department of Land and Natural Resource, and depending if it's an injection well, the EPA and also the DOH.
County lawyers seem to think the bill would result in lawsuits.
Under the current permit, PVG's permitted to produce 60 megawatts of geothermal power, and anything outside of that, any loss of that right could be a potential harmful effect on PVG.
PGV is on thin ground. There's nothing in those permits that says they can specifically drill at night. You have legislative immunity. There, for Corporation Counsel to tell you that if you do this, you're going to be sued. Basically, what they're doing, they might as well just write PGV a check. They're inviting PGV to do this. That's
Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Bob.
Bill 292 passed and was signed into law as Ordinance 12-151.
Chair Gong, you have 5 ayes.
Okay, Bill 292 passes.
And our schedule has us drilling for 6 days. And when I say days, it's, it could include the night also.
Fast forward to today.
To the east, there's going to be the existing old plant. There's a big hillside. To the north, there's a pool.
Puna Geothermal Venture says they will commence drilling once again, this time on KS16 starting this month, and they say that could include nighttime drilling.
And by the way, we have permits to drill up to 28 wells, okay? And we can go up to 60 megawatts. And so we're here for the long haul. And we want to work with you guys. If we're going to be here for the long haul, we want to work together.
So Mike,
Mike Kalei-Keeney, who today is Ormat's Director of Hawaiian Affairs, informed residents of the tentative drilling schedule during this community meeting held last week in Pahoa.
That's not, this project we're doing is not the first time we're doing it to keep up with our contract. The reason why we drilled wells in the past is similar activities occurred where our production had declined. So in this case, even though the hurricane contributed to the well getting cool, etc., it was historically getting cool over time anyhow. That well was one of the first wells from 1993.
So that means it's not a renewable resource.
What's your definition of renewable?
You don't have to keep drilling wells.
Well, listen, the resource, we're going back to it, so the resource is renewable. That particular well, for whatever reason, you can say the well is not renewable, but the resource is, because we're going back to the resource.
Members of the Puna Pono Alliance, who oppose geothermal energy expansion in Puna and keep a close eye on PGV, were on hand. Many testified in favor of the nighttime drilling ban in 2012. They disagree with the company's position that PGV is somehow exempt from the law.
Arguing about how good a law is not a reason not to follow it. Okay. There's a regulation, you follow the regulation.
The regulation for nighttime drilling ban should apply to us. That's what you're saying.
I'm saying if it does, you should follow it.
Oh, if it does. Yeah, I agree. If the regulation applies to us, we will follow it.
Well, then you should find out it should be
If
clear
the
before you
regulation,
start.
okay, we definitely will.
We need a legal opinion before you start, then if you agree with us.
Here's where we come to self-regulation again. The proper people need to come to the community.
Puna Pono points to the DLNR drilling permit issued to PGV on December 16, 2014. They say the permit clearly requires PGV to comply with county law.
Now, theoretically, can we stop? Sure.
That was the answer I was asking for.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
can you stop? You can stop. Yeah.
Theoretically, we can.
Okay.
But we're not going to stop.
So you're considering the safety of your employees and not the safety of the community. Is that true?
No, that's not true. The safety of the employees translates to safety to the community. If the safety of the employees and them being able to maintain the wells, it'll prevent a KSA from happening.
Or if there's a potential for any KSA to happen again, why would you even consider it? Yeah. The potential is there. It doesn't matter if you're doing it continuously or if you're doing it at a daytime basis. The potential is always there, right?
But the increased potential is because if you want to shut down at night, why increase the potential?
Well, we don't want any potential. We live here.
I know, yeah. Who wants us to shut down? We're not going to shut down. We're going to be here for a long time.
The meeting remained civil, but there was tension in the air.
Under your rationale, I could tell a cop, well, I got my driver's license before the new speed limit went into effect. Why should I follow them?
If you guys believe that you figure out a way to circumvent the laws that are passed directly to apply to you, I was wondering if you could share with me the name of your law firm. Because
well, listen, what you're saying is that we're willfully breaking the law is absurd. Okay, we don't do that. Okay, we have ethics. Okay, so law firms, we don't need a law firm to comply.
We do have ethics.
Steve Daly was also present. He seized the opportunity to question his corporate neighbors directly.
I would challenge whoever it is that makes those decisions. Do they really give a shit about our quality of life? All right.
It was a few days later when we caught up with Steve at his home.
Well, now we hear that they're going to do some things different, but I mean, logic tells me that they're pounding through solid rock with heavy pieces of equipment. I don't know what they're going to do that's not going to be heard or felt in some way. And unfortunately, we're going to have to, it feels like or sounds like we're just going to have to wait and see.
However, Puna Pono Alliance is not waiting. It has already sent letters to the DLNR asking them to require PGV to show cause why their permit should not be revoked, and also to Mayor Billy Canoy, asking him to support the request to revoke PGV's permit. Also, the Hawaii County Council is taking up the matter this week. Puna Councilman Gregor Iligan has introduced 2 resolutions. One requests that PGV comply with Ordinance 12-151 by restricting drilling operations at production well KS-16 to the hours of 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. The second resolution requests that the Office of the Corporation Counsel step in to examine the matter and issue a declaratory judgment action, possibly seeking injunctive relief. Steve Daly has hope for the upcoming process.
The very, very minimum would be that the council ratifies, solidifies a permanent ban on nighttime drilling. At very least, because sleep is probably the the most precious activity that we all have, right? And interrupting that is just is not okay. However, if it turns out that there's health or safety concerns because of the interruption in drilling, which is what I've heard from some of the PGV employees, or it becomes unprofitable for PGV to operate, I can't say I would be disappointed at all for them to decide that it wasn't a good enterprise and they just basically move out.